Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone. My name is KJ. And today's spoiler review video is the new series on Disney Plus, Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lord, Episode 8 spoiler review. So if you have not seen this amazing series, please pause this. But before you go, could you do one thing for me, guys? Hit the like button, aka the thumbs up button. That would help my YouTube channel out, and I appreciate that. Come back, let me know what you think about Episode 8 of Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lords. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode continues on from the last episode from both Maul, Marek, and 11 survived from the force where Maul decided to bring down giant rocks and boulders down on them. And what's really cool, what I like about that, they re-showed it, that same scene again, but this time they kind of added, like, before all that, Maul, like, ran out and jumped out of, like, a cave and into a waterfall, but he did, like, this really cool, like, spin with especially with his double lightsaber. I thought that was really cool. And obviously 11 and Marok just rose out of the gravel of all those rocks and boulders that fell on him. And we can see Maul is injured as his robotic leg is a little bit in damage. With the rage he's carried, Maul continues on. 11 visits Riley Larson, and he's obviously worried. He gets a call from Arena, and she finds a spaceship, but there's not a lot of time. So Brandon Larson is willing to take his son's place and ask Docky to make sure Riley's on that spaceship. Two Boots decides to rescue Riley. Maul is being hunted by his past. So what we're seeing here is we're with Brandon Larson and his son Riley Larson. It's kind of like, the dad's ready to sacrifice for his son, right? And he's trying to be heroic about it. But the evil empire don't even care about them. They'd probably rather have them both eliminated. And they're going to do whatever they can, because what they're going to do, what they don't realize, the empire is going to sweep everything out on the rug, delete everything that's been written down, put in the system. Like, what they're doing is they're going to make these characters that you're seeing not exist in the system or on paper. And that's what they don't realize. And so we got a guy who's just desperate to save his son, obviously. Now, if you compare that to Brandon Larson, who's worried about his son, Riley Larson, he's gonna make this ultimate sacrifice, even though he knows that the evil empire could just eliminate them all, right? And nobody would care. Nobody would know these people would exist in the Star Wars universe. They wouldn't put it down in computers or write it down on record, nothing like that. But so he's going to take a big risk because he has to believe, like, his son's future is safe. Now, look at Master Jedi Docky. He's more worried about the fact that Devin, he's gonna lose her, not by death, but by the dark side. Because every time the situation with the Empire gets much more difficult and more challenging for her, and it looks like there's no hope, because when you think you're ahead of them, some way, somehow, someone like the Inquisitors are just waiting for you to show up. And sometimes it's frustrating, especially when they're always one up in you in a lightsaber duel battle. Like when you think you got them, they're knocking you down, they're stabbing you, they're whatever, right? This is what Jedi's and Sith Lords do. But every time this happens, Maul's vision, his perspective looks more appealing to Devin, right? Even though like the side that she's on right now is probably the best choice at the end because they got each other's back. But she doesn't want to always. She seems like she wants to be able to be strong, do this independently. And Maul's kind of saying in every episode, like, I can provide you that. I can train you to be that where you don't need help, where they need your help. And so it's kind of like those things, and Docky's just worried about that. But these two guys, one's a real father and one's just a father figure to Devin, but they're about to make this ultimate sacrifice for these two young people so their future is set and safe. And that's what Maul doesn't have, because we see Maul having flashbacks to his past and even showed old clips from the Star Wars Clone Wars series. And the reason why I'm trying to compare these three is you got the good guys, basically, the older guys, who've seen all this before, seen some nasty stuff, got life experience, and yet they never changed. You know, they never changed their mannerisms. They never changed who they are. You know, they're not the type, if you can't beat them, join them type thing. Devin is kind of like in that situation. And even Riley, because for him, it's the relationship between his dad and his mother. It's very strained. And so but Riley's probably like the guy who's been raised to rise above hate, you know, rise above this situation. Why Devin thinks her rising above this is what, you know, she may tempted to join a Maul's team, the dark side, basically. And so we see like this parallel of like these characters, which is my favorite thing about this, is just, you know, is it revenge or is it righteousness? And I just love that type of story. And so also in this episode, we see like they come up with a plan. So Devin hijacks a vehicle and she gets ready to leave the planet with everybody else. Next scene, we see Two Boots help escape and reunites Kylie with his dad. And we get this huge speed chase. And what I like about this is it's kind of funny. This is kind of like the Star Wars humor. So originally we get like, okay, Brandon was gonna turn himself in to save his son, but his Two Boots was like, well, the deal's off, so everybody just come with me type thing. And what was really funny is we see Two Boots find a way to break free from the program that's programmed in his computer chip, the motherboard chip. And so now he's very heroic, and they're all just running away from the stormtroopers and stuff. And as they get on this elevator, you know, Devin, her senses come and say, hey, something's not right. And Docky's like, I agree. And so they had Larson call Renee Soul, and the way she spoke to him on the phone, on the communications. He's like, yeah, she's been compromised. And so they climb the elevator and stuff. And Sheena, she took like a bazooka and just blowed up the whole ship. And she may not have survived, but they were they were ready. So at the end of that episode, we see Maul is still on track for his plan as he's gonna meet the Crips and like Dawn type thing for help to get out of here and make a deal. So that's how that episode ended. That was really good because what I like about that too for Maul, like I was explaining, we're seeing the good guys kind of have these conflicted feelings. And then we got the two older guys just trying to make that sacrifice for the young people. But here's Maul who's just like, screw all that. Like, he had his moment. He reminded himself. He saw the young version of himself. And he remembered. He's everything what a Sith Lord mindset is. Even though he's not a Sith Lord no more. Because he's been kicked out. Because they're just tired of his failness. But he got back on business, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna take down the Empire. I'm gonna take down Lord Sidious. He's ready to go. Like, he's very confident, and that's what I like about Maul. Like, he just needed a moment by himself, and then he's just back on. He's back locked in. Like, he's ready to go. Like, he looked like the aura farming that he was in that last scene was nuts. Like, he's ready to do some business, and so we're gonna see. But also too, I like, again, they showed a little bit of weakness, but what makes him stronger is his passion on the revenge and hatred that he has to carry. That's the only way you're gonna wield that red lightsaber. So he's got that. And then the topic is Sheena Soul. Did she survive? I would say yes. I think she did survive. I think there's a love story, and I think there's a feud between her and Riley's mother. Obviously, we know who there's no dispute who his mother is. So it's not that type of story, but I think her being involved may have caused their marriage to end or separate from each other. And so I think there's a story there, and I think they'll keep that character alive to tell that story at some point. That's what I'm thinking with that. And then let's talk about Riley and Devin. I think, again, like, it's definitely feels like these two characters are definitely going to be on different paths. I don't know if it's the good guy path or the bad guy path, the hero, the villain type path, but they're definitely going to be on a different path. But I always feel like Riley's going to be the person who always brings back Devin back to reality, where she needs to be at, back to places that make sense to her. It makes her feel calm and in peace and safe. I'm getting that vibe from this scene, this episode, I should say. So I think there's more to them. I think there is going to be a love story between those two as well. And yeah, that's why I'm thinking that a lot of this is kind of like a setup for future stories, but also this is also setting up to the end of this season as well. So really good balanced out. So if I had to give this episode a 1 out of 10, again, I hate doing this, but I got to, because this was cooking. This season's cooking good. Like, this is a 10 out of 10 episode. Like, I don't see any flaws in this season. I really don't. maybe I'm just a huge Star Wars fan, but I really don't see no flaws. Like, nothing I wouldn't want to nitpick about at all. I could dissect it even more, but I feel like the things that I thought I can bring up, I didn't even think it's even worth talking about because, like, if you're just complaining about the graphics and the animation or just the dialogue, like, it's not that serious. Like, it all makes sense. These are things that these characters, anything that Maul is saying, this is what I would imagine Maul would say. This is what he would talk. This is how he would act. Right? Like, nothing's changed. Like, it fits to, like, Star Wars Clone Wars animation series. This fits to, like, Star Wars Bad Batch. Like, I mean, this shows. I mean, I think this show's better than Bad Batch, but that's just my opinion. But this show's good. I mean, it just feels like a Star Wars. I would say this is, and it's not fair to compare it to. I was gonna compare it to the Mandalorian Grogu movie, but it's not really fair to compare a show to a movie. But I'm enjoying this more. But again, I'm getting like 10 episodes. I got like one movie out of the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which again I love that movie to death. So I can't really compare it to that. But as far as why I'm giving this a 10 out of 10, this is just, I don't see no flaws. Each episode, it tells a new story within the same main plot of it, but it's very still connected to the last episodes, and each episode of this is just building up to the next episode, which is fine. It's keeping the story going, and it's smooth. It's really a smooth story, really simple to get along with, and the action to it is on point. Like, it's always, the action is always intense when it needs to be, but it slows down when it needs to slow down for important moments, especially with when they show their emotions about it, when they're dealing with their feelings. And I think that's really important, and that's why I feel like this season's so good. Like, I mean, they're cooking for real, like, just good. So I really enjoyed this, really good. But that is my spoiler review, guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you guys the update with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.